Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm gonna be reviewing Django Unchained. So when I saw this movie, I went Christmas Day. Good idea. Yeah, it was crowded. Yeah, there were no seats except for the front row. It's my favorite spot. I'm kidding, yo. I'm kidding. So I was in the front seat and I was looking up like this, and I loved this movie. Just to say, I am not one of the biggest Quentin Tarantino fans. Just saying. Don't get mad, don't get mad. But I had so much fun watching this movie. All the acting to me was great. It's a spaghetti western. It's got a lot of blood and violence and nudity and cursing, and it was awesome. And it's awesome. I love it. Alright, starting with the writing. Tarantino wrote this himself, of course, and the dialogue is great. It's witty, it's quick, it's smart, it's clever writing. Who doesn't like that? Along with blood. That makes things cool too. So the violence is, have you seen any Tarantino movies lately? You know, there will be blood. I know, Paul Thomas Anderson, you took that title, but I'm using it in this review. It's bloody. It's a bloody mess. Not throughout the whole film, but a lot of it is a bloody mess, and it's awesome. Just don't take it so seriously, you know? I mean, when people get shot, like, there was like an explosion of blood out of their arms, like jelly, like a whale or something, I don't know. And it was kind of cool, and it makes you laugh, like, oh, you know, it's just fun. I'm not taking it too seriously, you know? It's supposed to be entertaining. But if you just take yourself out from the real world, put it in his little fictional world, you'll have a lot of fun with it, I guarantee it. Acting, Jamie Foxx does a really good job. There was an interview, I think I think Quentin Tarantino told Jamie Foxx, the main character by the way, he's Django. Jamie Foxx is Django, just to make that clear. Tarantino told Jamie Foxx that he didn't believe he was a slave. He said you need to act more, be more of a slave. It's kind of funny, but it's like, wow, this white guy is telling this black guy that he's not being slavey enough. But he pulled it off. I really liked him in this. He did a really good job. He did a solid job. He didn't talk too much, to be honest with you. His character is all about revenge. He just wants to get his wife back. And that's all he sets out to do. That's all he cares about, is getting his wife back. Christoph Waltz, who played Dr. Schultz. In his character, he spoke so well, but he turned deadly in seconds. He's already nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I thought he did an excellent job. Every time he was on screen, you were like watching him. It's the fact that he has like these dual personalities inside himself. It just, you never knew when he would snap. He did an excellent job. And then there's Leonardo Dicaprio, who screams a lot! But that's okay. Leonardo DiCaprio. The first time I really seen him in a role where I did not like him. Not because he screams a lot, but because his character was just, ugh. He plays a plantation owner named Candy, kind of like Candyland. It's just pretty much like an epic plantation. And he was just not a good character. He would use slaves to fight against each other to the death. The fact that he could watch two men, just fight to the death. I think it was called Mandingo, or tell me in the comments if I'm saying this wrong. It's just an awful thing to watch. And there was no remorse. I mean, at one point, you know, he actually in real life hurt his hand, cut his hand, it was all bloody, and he rubs it all over Kerry Washington's face. And I thought, because when I saw the movie first, I thought that was part of the script. But what I learned afterwards is that he really accidentally cut himself and was just going improv with it, I guess, without Kerry Washington's consent, and just smears it all over her face. But that shows you how much he was into this role. So DiCaprio, again, great acting. Kerry Washington, she did good. She did good. I mean, her whole role is basically playing Django's wife, and she does a lot of screaming and crying. She gets whipped. Yeah. She doesn't have much dialogue, which is kind of disappointing. I guess, you know, it's another con. I would have liked her to have more of a role, even though her role was very important, because Django just wanted to get back to her. He wanted to get her back as his wife. But a lot of her was just reacting to getting whipped and beat up. Yeah, a lot of screaming. That was Kerry Washington. And then there's the Tarantino cameo. He's in the movie. He's doing another cameo. I really don't think he should have done it, but it's in the movie and it wasn't terrible. It didn't hurt the movie too much, but his accent, I think he was supposed to be Australian. But it's his freaking movie. And it's a freaking awesome movie, so I guess he can get away with it. But the character that stands out the most is Samuel L. Jackson. What would a Tarantino film be without Mr. Jackson? And man, I hated his character. Oh my god, I hated his character so much. He's like the Django version of Uncle Ruckus. If you watch Boondocks, you'll know what I'm talking about, but he's like 10 times worse. 10 times worse. He's like the Uncle Tom character. He doesn't like Django at all, even though he's another black. He's like the successful slave, but he just like, who's that? Who's that? And he's kissing all the white people's feet. He's like a disgusting character. Oh my god, but it's funny at the same time, which is why Tarantino's writing is so good. It's funny, but so offensive. But it's not made to be taken so seriously. I didn't go into it thinking that Tarantino was trying to make slavery look like glorify slavery. I didn't think that he was making fun of slavery. It's just a unique twist on it. Django is a slave bounty hunter. Just the fact, during that time period, I thought it was really interesting. And I was engaged in this film the whole time. I guess one con about this movie is it's really long. It is really long. It had like a Lord of the Rings type ending where you think it's gonna end and it's just like, oh, okay. Oh, alright, yeah, oh. Okay, it's ending, oh. The movie can seem really long. At one point in the middle of the movie, it started to get drawn out. A lot of dialogue, not bad at all, I mean, but there's a time where it's like, okay, let's just pick it up, let's get to the next scene. You know, let's just get it going, get it moving. But other than that, I don't have too many complaints. Of course, there's all this talk about the N-word. That's right, I'm not gonna say it. There's been a lot of talk about this film, mostly with Spike Lee, saying how there's a lot of the N-word being used, and yeah, there is. It's the South during slavery. It's gonna be used. Me, being a fellow African American, as you can see, did honestly not notice how much they were saying the word, because apparently it's a lot. But then Tarantino gets a lot of hate for that too. He uses the N-word in his movies and he's not black. But I honestly did not notice it that much, mostly because it was that time period where racism was a way of life. The black people were slaves. They were lower than everyone else and they were called that the N-word. I've seen so many movies where it wouldn't have been accurate if they didn't. Some people may say it was over the top, but honestly, I doubt it, at least in real life. That was their time to use the N-word, they probably got their share of it, because nowadays, y'all can't say it. And Spike Lee, okay, my honest opinion is, he didn't even see the movie. Even before it came out, he kept saying that it looks bad to his ancestors. He's insulting them, all his ancestors that were slaves. It's insulting, it's racist, it uses the N-word too much. Tarantino was not making this a serious movie. No, it doesn't accurately represent slavery back in the day. It's a spaghetti western. It's just a fun movie. It's supposed to be entertaining. If anything, I thought it was cool that the slave was the bounty hunter and was taking revenge out on all his ex-slave owners. And he finds one of his old slave masters or something. And he has a gun and he has a whip. Which one does he choose? He chooses the whip. And he gets his revenge on that master. and it felt weirdly good. You know, his slave owner whipped him, just made him seem like a lesser of a person. He got his revenge. This whole movie is centered around revenge, and boy does he get it. So Spike Lee, if that's bothering you about this movie, if that is preventing you from seeing this movie, don't listen to him. He didn't even see the movie. It's just that every time Tarantino comes out with a movie that is remotely ethnic, specifically in the African American category, he's gonna have something to say. I was not offended at all by this movie. I mean, you would think if anyone were to be offended, it would be me, and I wasn't. There's even, you know, little controversy stuff about these dolls that are coming out, and it got discontinued. It got discontinued because they're slaves. Slaves should not be on the shelves of toy stores. First of all, I'm not sure if that's really was for kids. I mean, I think it's just one of those, you know, dolls that people can have like a little collection for the movie. I didn't think the dolls were slaves. It's Django. I don't see him as a slave. He's Django and his wife. I mean, they're slaves technically as characters, but that's not what this whole movie's about. It's what makes this movie so interesting is that a slave is a bounty hunter. He's getting back at the people who bring him down. It's a revenge movie. It's a good movie, and people are taking it too seriously, and I advise you not to. And of course, it being a Quentin Tarantino film, it's got a little bit of a retro feel to it, which makes it kind of like an instant classic. It's a Western, which makes it also original because you don't see too many of those. And I think that it is. I think Django Unchained can be a classic one day. There's so many quotable things in this movie. After watching it, you're gonna be quoting this movie for weeks. You'll be telling your friends, remember that scene? Remember when Django did that? Remember when that happened? And you'll be laughing about it. You'll be thinking about this movie for weeks. At least I did, which I think those are the movies that are really good. You'll be thinking about it days or weeks after you see it. Not a movie you'll forget, like, oh yeah, I did see that last week. Those are the good movies that stick in your mind. I had a lot of fun. See this movie, see Django Unchained. So, would I recommend this movie? Hells yeah. Sorry, Spike Lee. Django Unchained, 2 thumbs, way up. So tell me what you guys think. Did you like it? Did the whole N-word thing bother you? Did you not like it? Was it too violent or was it too awesome? I keep doing that. Awesome. Awesome. Leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Oh, and subscribe. I'd like it if you did that. Thanks for watching, guys.